So you want to crush the GMAT Quant section, right? Well, if you really want to boost that score, you've got to master percentages. They pop up all the time, and honestly, with the right approach, they can be some of the easiest points you'll get. In this guide, we're going to break down the exact strategies you need to solve them fast and solve them right.
Welcome to EduRev. I'm going to be your guide today, and my goal is really simple. I want to make sure you walk into that test center feeling totally confident about any percentage problem the GMAT decides to throw at you.
Now, this is the mindset I want you to have. It's so easy to see a percentage problem and, feel that little bit of anxiety creep in, but I want you to start seeing them as opportunities. With the strategies we're about to cover, these aren't just annoying problems to solve, they're basically guaranteed points you can add to your score. All right, let's build your toolkit. Before we dive into those tricky word problems, we need to lock down 3 fundamental formulas. Trust me, every single GMAT percentage question, no matter how complicated it looks, is built on one of these 3 ideas. Okay, first things first, the absolute bedrock of it all. What even is a percentage? It's just a simple way of talking about a piece of something compared to the whole thing. This formula you see right here, part divided by whole times 100, that's the engine behind everything else we're going to do.
So what about when things change, like a price goes up? For a percent increase, the most important piece of this formula is the number on the bottom, the denominator. See how we always divide by the original value? That's your anchor point. The change only makes sense when you measure it against where you started.
And guess what? The exact same logic is true for a percent decrease. The top part of the fraction is flipped around a bit, but the foundation is identical. We are still, always, dividing by that all-important original value. Getting this concept down is how you're going to dodge the most common traps on the GMAT. Okay, theory's done. Our foundation is solid. Now for the fun part. Let's actually put these formulas to work. We're going to apply them to the kinds of problems you'll actually see on test day. Because, a tool is only useful if you know how to use it under pressure.
Let's ease into it with the most basic question type, a direct calculation. This might look simple, and it is, but mastering this is step 1. The question is as straightforward as it gets. What is 30% of 80? Here's how we tackle this. It's a simple 2-step dance. First, you can't really do math with that little percent sign, so you have to convert 30% into its decimal form, which is just 0.30. And second, and this is a huge GMAT tip, the word of in a percentage problem almost always means multiply. So we just multiply 0.30 by 80, and bam, we get our answer, 24.
Okay, time to level up a bit with a classic GMAT word problem. This is how the test takes a simple calculation and wraps it up in a business story. So we've got a product that costs $150, and we want to make a 20% profit. The question is, what's the final selling price?
Let's break this down. First, we need to figure out what that 20% profit actually equals in dollars. So we do our little calculation, 0.20 times the $150 cost, which gives us a $30 profit. Now, here's the trap. A lot of people stop right there. But the question asks for the selling price. So we have to add that $30 profit back to the original $150 cost, which gives us our final price of $180.
Now that 2-step method we just used, it's perfectly correct. It works. But on the GMAT, being correct isn't enough. You also have to be fast. So now I'm going to show you a shortcut, a much more elegant way to solve this that'll save you precious seconds.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the standard method we just walked through. It works, but it's 2 separate steps. Now look at the right. This is the multiplier shortcut. Instead of finding 20% and then adding it, we just think the final price is the original 100% plus the 20% profit. That's 120%. As a decimal, that's 1.20. Multiply $150 by 1.20, and you get the answer in one clean shot. Same result, half the work. And this is where that multiplier trick becomes an absolute lifesaver. Take a look at this super common GMAT scenario. Revenue goes up by 25%, and then it goes down by 20%. So what's the overall change? Now, the trap here, the thing your brain wants to do, is just subtract 20 from 25 and say, oh, it's a 5% increase. Let me show you why that's totally wrong.
Let's solve this the smart way, with our multipliers. A 25% increase means we have 125% of the original, so our first multiplier is 1.25. Then a 20% decrease means we're left with 80% of whatever that new value was. So our second multiplier is 0.80. To find the total effect, you just multiply the multipliers together. And look what happens. 1.25 times 0.80 is exactly 1.00. What does that mean? It means there was zero change. After all that, the revenue is right back where it started. See, that last problem was a perfect example of a GMAT trap. They love to set you up like that. So let's spend a minute on the most common mistakes people make. Seriously, on this test, knowing what not to do is half the battle. Okay, here are the two biggest traps. The first one, which we just saw, is thinking you can add or subtract percentages in a multi-step problem. You can't. And the reason is that the base, the whole number you're taking a percentage of, it changes after that first step. That 20% decrease was a percentage of a new, bigger number. That's why you have to use multipliers. The second big trap is using the wrong base. Always, always, always remember to divide by the original number, not the new one. Whew, okay, we have covered a ton of ground, right? From the basic formulas to the pro-level shortcuts. So let's just boil it all down into a quick recap of the key things you absolutely need to remember for test day. Here it is, your 3-step game plan for mastering GMAT percentages. First, you've got to master those core formulas. They need to be automatic, like breathing. Second, the second you see a problem about percent increase or decrease, your brain should immediately think multipliers. It is the key to both speed and accuracy. And finally, you have to actively watch out for those traps we talked about. Never add percentages and always use the correct original base.
Look, watching this guide is a fantastic first step, but real mastery only comes from practice. To really make these skills second nature, you've got to get your hands dirty and solve a bunch of these problems. And the best place to do that is in the EduRev app. You'll find tons of practice questions, detailed lessons, and even full-length tests to get you ready. So go download it now on the Play Store or the App Store, and let's keep working towards that target score together.